The handbills, the flyers that the Klan was distributing at the time, explaining why they were marching, why they were rallying. The headline on the flyer said, "Americans assaulted by Roman Catholic police of New York City." That was their explanation for why they had to go march against the police. And so in May of 1927, 1,000 Klansmen and some assorted fascists marched in Queens, in New York City, and they ultimately rioted and fought with police. Nobody was killed. There was a lot of news coverage of it at the time, which survives, both from the New York Times, from the Brooklyn Daily Eagle, from a few other papers. The police commissioner at the time made a point of telling the public that this was kind of a landmark moment for the Klan in New York City. It's not that he didn't know that the Klan was active in New York City. It's just that New York City had never before seen 1,000 Klansmen turn out in the streets in robes and masks, like they did in May 1927. According to news reports at the time, there were 7 men who were arrested at that Klan march in New York. One of them was Fred Trump, who was the father of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has previously responded to reporting about this incident by saying it never happened, never happened, never happened. The whole thing is made up. But there is contemporaneous news coverage that both describes and shows pictures of that mass Klan march, including Klansmen marching in New York City in hoods and robes, and his father's name does show up as one of the arrestees from that march. And the sins of the father are not the sins of the son for anybody. But that is not a reason to ignore history. We think of the Klan and their attendant modern white supremacist groups as a magnet for toothless losers and con artists and small-time violent thugs and some people who are just legitimately freaking nuts. But it's not ancient history. It's not even ancient family history to recognize that the white supremacist movement in this country, which persists decade after decade after decade, their goals have never been to just exist on the fringe as some sort of kooky throwback peanut gallery for parolees, right? I mean, their goals and their expectations have always been that they should exert real mainstream political power.